All right, guys, we are back. Third game, our third series, final series of the night. Hopefully, you've all been enjoying the cast so far. And we're going to kick things off with Battlefield of Eternity, where we started things off earlier this evening. This time, though, it's going to be Modo Miracle facing off against Subject to Change. So, we're going to pull on up some Vision A West, some of their stats. Let's see if I can get the right one. And let's go on down. I can find them. There we go. So, like I mentioned before, both teams have not necessarily been doing that well this season. But it doesn't mean that there's not some juicy details about how they've been playing this season. So we're going to pull that up as long as it actually works appropriately. There we go. So taking a look so far at the bans, we'll talk about the stats in a second here. Raynor and Yrel, Genji being banned down out. So typical bans you would expect. Yrel is very potent and not wanting to first pick her. This is the prime time to then ban her. If you don't want to pick her up because you feel she's not worth the first pick and you don't want to give it to your opponent, well, drop her like it's hot. So interestingly though, they have played a lot of Yrel on the side of Modo Miracle. They've played her 4 times, and we're gonna go in here. That familiar Shimada brother Hanzo, and Hanzo has actually been picked up by them 4 times as well. And the only map they've actually won is the one that Subject to Change has taken them to. So I don't know if Subject to Change has actually done any research onto Modo Miracle, because this is definitely a problematic choice in that they have proven they can win here beforehand. Now we're going to see the Artanis ban, which I'm not quite sure about the Artanis ban. If we look at who they have picked, well, I don't see Artanis on here. So they have yet to actually pick Artanis. And they're not going to need Artanis because they're going to get Diablo and Whitemane. And that means Blaze is still available, but they can lock down the Blaze by picking him up this go around on the side of Subject to Change, which is going to be a power move to me in the draft by locking down potential solo laners. Without Yrel, without Artanis, and taking out Blaze, you're pretty much forcing someone either go Leo or Sonya. Those are the most likely choices otherwise. And finally, Jaina will be banned out here, which is an interesting choice. I mean, Jaina is a mid-range mage. Lei Ming can poke her from afar. I wonder if they're worried about something in particular. Now, Phoenix is still available. I think a Phoenix on either side would be, quite glorious, as he is quite good. And if we take a look, we're not going to see, we've seen 2 games of Phoenix and 2 games of Maiev on the side of Modo Miracle. If we jump on over to Subject to Change, who we're getting down to, let's take a look at some of their normal picks. We're going to see they actually have a very wide pool in terms of what they have picked, and don't tend to focus too much. They have Raynor games, Asmodean games, Greymane games, Kel'Thas games, Yrel games. So they're across the board, and they're picking up the Alexstrasza with the Greymane. Now, the one thing to be cognizant of is that Greymane can chew through Hanzo real easy. Whitemane, however, can kind of bait him in with the Scarlet Aegis or Divine Reckoning to really drop the DPS on Greymane or top off Hanzo, making it almost impossible for Greymane to finish him off. And because they didn't focus on actually taking a solo laner here, I feel like Subject to Change has actually lost the draft in terms of priority. They pick up Alexstrasza and Greymane, but they don't need to pick up Alexstrasza at this point. They pick up the Thrall for their solo lane, and I think they're going to get ran over at this point. Blaze, Diablo, like that's a big beefy front line to try and walk past, but Thrall might be able to actually knock him down a peg if they pick up Crash Lightning, but that also means his solo lane will be weaker. Now, ultimately, I feel like the draft was won by Modo Miracle. They have a better solo lane, they have a beefier front line, and Phoenix and Hanzo is very, very brutal. Additionally, with the Lightning Breath, power up Purification Salvo, that's a lot of damage. And Greymane has to be concerned about getting out because you have Blaze who can drop the Oil Dispersal. You have Whitemane who can lock him down later on. You have Hanzo who can even drop a Dragon Arrow right in his face. And Diablo who can slow him down with the Lightning Breath and or wallbang him. So they are going to have to be very cognizant. At the same time, if Greymane starts racing, well, they have a much better race on the side of Subject to Change. And it'll really be up to them to race and defend simultaneously. They do have the Crash Lightning to help defend, and if they do go with it, and they will have a Li Ming to poke as well. So they have a potentially very strong defense. But we're going to go and give you all the lowdown on who's playing what. We got ourselves seeing Eric on the Phoenix. We got Marad on the Hanzo. Sir Sean Sheep on that Golden Rooster. As the Whitemane, we got Ghost Dunk on the Diablo, and we're going to have that Mr. Matt on the Blaze, and that is going to be a Modo Miracle. On the other side, we got Math Problem on the Thrall. We got Lionhouse on the Greymane, Sir Lancelot on the Alexstrasza, Wipeout on the Li Ming, Thunder B or Thunder 5 on the Muradin, and that is going to be Subject to Change. So, taking a quick look at what's what over here, we got Devil's Due being picked up, the Arsenal Synergy, and we're going to get the Simple Geometry with Clemency and Adrenaline Stampak. Other side, we got the Viciousness, Circle of Life, Perfect Storm, Echo of the Elements, and Power Hungry. So I do think the Thrall is not as good of a pick now by having Echo of the Elements. Yes, he's a better solo laner, but I don't feel like they're going to just chunk through Diablo and Blaze magically without the Crash Lightning. Ghost Dunk coming on through, getting onto Wipeout. Thunder coming on in to help heal. Lionhouse chewing up Ghost Dunk, and right now, since he's a wet paper bag, he will be bodied. Very nicely done from Subject to Change, landing even more damage onto Marad. Thunder looking for some more. The stun on top of him, and he'll be looking fine and dandy. So the aggression from Ghost Dunk again in punish there with his team unable to actually finish him. A Rock trying to finish off a Lionhouse, but we'll have to pour it on back as Thunder is coming in hot and heavy. In the top lane, we got pretty much that Mr. Matt holding down on the lane, and Math Problem holding it down equally as well. In the bot lane, Ghost Dunk's looking for some revenge here. Going to back on off. They are still fighting for the bot camp. And, well, this is going to be Sir Lancelot going to have the heals. There's the wipeout damage coming on in. Ghost Dunk getting low, but they'll be able to get on out and pick up the Merc camp simultaneously. So a win-win for the side of Modo Miracle. We do have the tap being used, and Ghost Dunk will be filling on up a regular with that HP very shortly, as you can see. Ghost Dunk is taking a lot of poke damage here. He can't walk too far forward. He does have a lot of globes he can pick up here, and remember, he did pick up Devil's Due, which helps him regen a significant amount. Unfortunately, he's only at roughly 25 souls, 24 to be precise, since it is whole numbers. Simple Geometry at 9 out of 20. But this is the race phase, and we'll see who does what. Echo of the Elements still not completed. We have 7 stacks on the Perfect Storm, and we also have a 5 on the Circle of Life. We did see Thick Skin being picked up here, which I kind of like, but I don't know how I overall feel. Ghost on getting his booty ripped apart. Linehouse chewing through it, and that Mr. Matt is up next as they're looking for another kill, and they will secure a 2 for nothing. And Linehouse coming on in hot, but Eric will be able to port on out with that Phoenix just in time. So Hanzo should be able to do a decent job here. Math Problem is going to try and zone him out, and he should be all right. The Rue coming on in, Thunder coming on in hot as well, and it's not going to land the stun. And this point, however, Linehouse, Sir Lancelot, they'll be able to chew through and get the halftime started off. So they're decently ahead. Halftime is about to start. They can tap as they need to, if they should need to. And really, both sides cleared up shaman camps as well. You can see a decent amount of damage on both sets of towers for both teams. Ghost Dunk trying to get on in there, trying to help with the defense. Nice stun. The follow-up from the Immortal just coming a little too late. The Dragon has been popped. Sir Lancelot trying to ensure his team can get this. And the race is not going to be enough at this point because there is no never out match. Thunder looking for it. Very nice time for that Mr. Matt to keep Ghost Dunk peeled. But there goes the damage from Linehouse on that Gramhane to chew through that Mr. Matt. The overpower onto Thunder. That Mr. Matt, executed from the Arcane Orb Explosion, and Sir Sean Sheep will have to back on out as well. So this is looking really good for Subject to Change right now. Subject to Change getting themselves 4 kills already. About to hit level 7 here. And if I'm them, I'm looking for more kills with that level 7 advantage. And pushing on in with the wave. Thunder getting aggressive, coming on in, landing the stun on Ghost Dunk. Sir Lancelot getting the slows. The orb will not connect, however. Ghost Dunk getting a big stun on Sir Lancelot, getting the overpower as well. They're still looking for Sir Lancelot, trying to get the heal, and it's not going to be good enough. Thunder is super low on mana. Linehouse will be going down next, and they get a 2 for nothing. So their aggression didn't pan out with the timing of the Immortal dropping. They basically overstayed there on the side of Subject to Change. And Ghost Dunk gets a very nice knockback onto Sir Lancelot, keeping him from actually walking away safely, which then makes the situation into overall, it's pretty even for them. They take down walls. They still have their well. They still have their fort. So pretty much they get themselves a 1 for 1, I'd say, in the sense like structure damage, almost equal across the board. Linehouse on top, and this is going to mean a lot of pressure on the bot lane as they have no gray main. They just, very nice on Thunder coming on in, but Arik will be healed up. Oh my god, Arik taking a lot of damage, no shield there. Needs to be a little more careful. They do push in, Arik now getting the shield once again. The stun going to actually land onto Murad, and they need a juke left and right. So Wipeout does not get those big orbs like that. So Sir Sean Sheep and Murad taking it straight to the face. And they are still trying to get this fort. They do get the well, which is actually a decent trade in my opinion. Thunder looking for it. Will get a stun onto Ghost Dunk. But he does not have the team there to follow up. In the meantime, top lane, they're going to brace into 10, getting themselves the lead. And will get all of the top wall. Arik coming on in hot, but doesn't have anyone else there to help support him, and will have to back on off. But they are in position. Math Problem coming in from the rear. Not going to land it on Arik. Arik, though, is getting the port off in time. Ghost Dunk coming in hot to ensure he can't escape. Sir Sean Sheep there dropping the heals, dropping the damage. Linehouse getting really low, having to back off. Will survive, and in Sir Lancelot's knockback, able to save the day. And that Mr. Matt will have to back off as well, as that is now a 2 for nothing, and 10s are around the corner for Subject to Change. Now, they have to be very careful here. I mean, Hanzo is up, and he needs to just poke from afar. You can see he's looking to try and get as many arrows off as he can. Thunder will try to block as best as he can, which makes a lot of sense. We have a completed, never outmatched, but look at this damage difference. And with it flipping over, and 10s, basically they just annihilate it. We have a Linehouse coming on back, but remember, Marad is Hanzo, and Hanzo, by the way, is able to take off a lot of the HP, reducing the advantage that they have on the side of subject to change. Nonetheless, they'll still get themselves a nice immortal. It's only about 30% shield, but it's still a nice immortal overall. We have the Scarlet Aegis, I believe, coming on out. We do have the bunker as expected, the arrow, and still thinking about what to get on Diablo, if they want the lightning breath or if they want the Apox. So they go with the lightning breath. This will be a really big. We have the Lifebinder, the Avatar, the Sunder, the Wave of Force, and they go for the throw. Purification Salvo coming out, Lightning Breath coming out, and perfectly timed to hit Linehouse, but they will all start getting killed up. Thunder coming in deep, has nowhere to go, will get overpowered on back, and Scarlet Aegis being used. They do get that ton of armor. Thunder going on down, Lifebinder going to be used to top them on off, and we have a full HP Muradin. Beautiful stun from Ghost Dunk to Peel, but they need to get back behind these walls ASAP. Ghost Dunk will be okay, will manage to get behind the wall, and this immortal is all but dead. And so they'll have to be careful and not be over aggressive and subject to change, perfectly timing the timing on getting out of there. So bot lane, Math Problem and that Mr. Matt. And they keep the soak up pretty much even. I'm actually surprised they didn't have Math Problem come on in to support with the push. They're looking for it. The stun. Ghost Dunk cutting the peel. Ghost Dunk might actually pay for it. The Sunder coming across onto Sershawn Sheep and Arik. Ghost Dunk next up on the list. And Linehouse connecting with the Q will finish him off. Arik next up. And that is a 3-for-0. Subject to change, bringing the pain onto Modo Miracle. So Math Problem, or that Mr. Matt, never rotated during that. Now, I don't know what the comms are like, but that's definitely for that Mr. Matt to call, like, hey, I think Thrall is gone. He might be doing camp. He might be rotating. At the same time, he didn't rotate, which means it's a 4v5. It also creates an awkward situation. Like, even if he rotates there, he probably can't get there in time now. He basically had to be rotating with Math Problem to ensure that he can help his team if needed. And that might have been the difference for saving either Ghost Dunk or Arik. But I don't think what he did was wrong either, necessarily. Of staying down here, keeping up the soak, and keeping this orb from falling. If anything, that would be Arik's fault. And like his positioning in Ghost Dunk and having to come on in to try and save him. Ultimately, not saving him or himself. But I think it was a valiant attempt. It was very close to actually working. We got the flank coming on from Modo Miracle. The stun, Ghost Dunk looking for it, will connect. The arrow is actually going to go through them like the Red Sea being split. And now Linehouse coming on in, not having to worry about the stuns. Ghost Dunk getting really low. Scarlet Aegis coming on out. Math Problem on the rear. And we have the Sunder getting 3 members. And they will finish off the Diablo. That Mr. Matt will drop the bunker now. But Arik has nowhere to go, turning into a little Phoenix temporarily. That Mr. Matt is up next, and say goodbye to Sir Sean Sheep. He's going to be turned into mince meat. Marad is up next. No. So let's take a look at that again. We're going to see the flank come on through. It's not going to actually amount to it. A beautiful Sunder hitting 4 members, splitting them across, keeping them from retreating back. The bunker's going to drop, but Linehouse, there's no escape from his Greymane. He basically is able to roll around, chew you up with the Qs, and yeah, I mean, absolutely beautifully done there from subject to change. And with that, they've been pushing in this entire time. They take down the front wall, they take down a tower, and they're close to hitting 16. I mean, Modo Miracle has to be extra aggressive now. Have to hit 13 and fight them before they hit 16. Because if they let this full immortal, there's the stun, there's the damage, it's not going to be enough onto Thunder 5. There's the lightning breath, the arrow coming across, going to whiff once again, and it's only hitting Thunder. Thunder is the one person you don't want to be the only one hitting. There's another beautiful stun, a Lightbinder coming on out. Thunder topped on off immediately, and they are in do or die mode right now. Top is pushed on in, but bottom is about to be shoved in even harder. 16 around the corner. They're going to be down a full talent here. They just burnt a multitude of heroics. There's very little that can be done except by fighting past this immortal and hoping they secure some kills. Problem is, they don't have any tools available to them. Arik, very far forward, has to be careful to not get caught on out with a root or from a stun. There's a root onto Thrall. Thunder coming on in. Hot, nice peel from Ghost Dunk to keep Arik safe. There's Scarlet Aegis being used. Beautiful stun from that Mr. Math. Thunder getting low, but the Sunder for Math problem going to keep him alive, and the knockback going to keep him from pushing in any further. Ghost Dunk going to be turned into a mini Diablo, and mini Diablo is nothing but a tamed animal at this point. Sure, Sean Sheep going to be dropped here, unfortunately, and despite the pause, I think it didn't really matter if Sir Sean Sheep stayed. By losing those two members, they've all but lost. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for this. Okay, we have Sir Sean back. Unfortunately, Sir Sean's not going to be able to do anything as he was dead anyways at this point. And with this Immortal, subject to change, changing things up and looking really good. If I recall correctly, Thunder was playing DPS, Wipeout was playing tank, and it looks like they might have some role reversals going on, or role swaps going on. So taking a quick look at some of those damage and healing numbers. Sir Lancelot, my god, almost, we got over 50% more healing, closer to like 70% more healing from Sir Lancelot than Sir Sean Sheep. So we have the battle of the Sirs here, and clearly the Knights of the Round Table are upsetting Sir Sean Sheep. Looking at the DPS, we had Greymane, a Lionhouse, taking it to the top with the 40k. Hanzo, or Marad's Hanzo, very, very close, 39k. Wipeout, very close as well, 38k, and Thrall with 38.7k as well. Phoenix, a 35k, and even Muradin doing pretty well over there. And finally, for the tanking numbers, we had Muradin 68.8k, Diablo 68.5k, and I mean those life binders too, basically topping off Muradin during Avatar. It was almost like a Cho'Gall at that point, topping off a Cho'Gall with life binder. All right, we'll be back with game number 2 shortly, so sit on tight while we hit those replays for you all to enjoy. And I do probably need to